Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Edible Paper, a podcast by Paper Izzy, where I take a Delta 9 gummy and I talk about things. Today's things I'm going to talk about are books. I'm taking a little break from my Bible series, even though I really want to do it some more. But I finished one of my books today, and I thought it'd be fun to talk about the books that I've read this year. So here we go. Oh gosh. So, yeah, I'm not much of a reader. Anybody that knows me could probably tell you that. It's funny because I work in a book department. So it's kind of funny that I just never really cared about reading. I mean, I've read a few books in my life. I read a lot of the Bible. I read The Last Song by Nicholas Sparks because Miley Cyrus was in the movie. I mean, I read books for school, but I mean, it's not ever been something I've really been that interested in. Because I'm like, I can read, but I can also just watch TV or listen to music or whatever. And it's more of a visceral experience, there's more senses being tickled than just, your eyeball, your imagination. But I don't know, maybe it's me getting older. I am finding a lot of joy in books recently. I'm not the fastest reader. I probably don't have the best taste of any reader. I've just been kind of reading random stuff, but I'm really enjoying it. I have a lot of books that are just kind of sitting on my bookshelf. Some were my mom's, some were mine I've had and just haven't read. I'm just reading them now, so it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy reading. So let's get into the books that I've read so far this year. First one is called His Reluctant Cowboy by A.M. Arthur, which it's funny looking at the book now because it is all beat up. It really looks like I've put this book through it, but it's a paperback. I guess that might be the reason. But it also took me a long time to finish it because this was the first book I read this year and the first book I've finished in a long time. I did start reading a novelization of West Side Story a year and a half ago, but I just didn't finish it and it was so short, so I just haven't really read anything. But I found this book, His Reluctant Cowboy, at a craft market where I go. It was one of those blind book, date with a book type of things where they wrap the book up so you can't see what the book is, but they give you a very brief hint as to what it was about. And it was a gay romance. And I was like, you know what? I love gay shit. If you know me, I love gay shit. It's my favorite thing in the world. And to have a book with a, a gay plot was very exciting. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it because, I mean, everything's so straight all the time. No offense to straight people, I guess, but it's so boring. I get it. People are straight. Can I see gay people, please? It's fun. Let's see what the back says about this. Michael Pierce left the small town life of Weston and cattle ranching for the hustle of Austin and never looked back until his father suffers a stroke and requires in-home care. Josiah Sheridan became a certified nursing assistant after seeing how wonderful his single mother's in-home aides were before she died. He wants to help people, and he does his best with the work he can find in small-town Weston, Texas. He also lives in a complicated life with his lover. To the rest of the world, they're just roommates. And they were roommates. Behind closed doors, their life is strained. Meeting Michael, a kind and openly gay, not to mention much older man, gives Josiah a glimpse into a brighter, happier world. He loves Michael's self-confidence and plethora of life stories, but it will take patience, planning, and more courage than Josiah thinks he has to finally break free from his old life and find real love with Michael. Oh, the little tagline also says, from acclaimed author A.M. Arthur comes a tender, sexy new novel in the Woods Ranch series. I tried to look up stuff about this author, but I really didn't find much. It's published by Carina Press. I've never heard of that either, but I really did like the book. Like it said, it's about the main character, Michael, moves back home with his dad to help take care of him, and his caretaker is the other character, Josiah. Basically, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but spoiler warning here. I don't know if I'm going to spoil it or not. Basically, the character Josiah lives with the sheriff of that town, and they're in an abusive relationship, and it's oh, that's so sad. And you feel bad for him, and he's trying to hide that from the other main character Michael, and it's very interesting. Like I think they have a nice, healthy relationship. Yeah, I don't think it's too like, because I know a lot of things can get kind of like, why are you torturing these characters, and why are we reading the romanticizing of like an abusive relationship? But I don't think it's like that really. There might be a bit of it maybe with like the young guy Josiah and the sheriff. I also don't like how on the back it says a much older man. I'm like, how much older are we talking? I guess it says the ages in the book, but it's been a while since I've read it. It's been a while, but it was a good book. I really liked it. I might read it again now that I'm like into reading. But for the next book I read, it's also a gay book. After I finished His Reluctant Cowboy, I hadn't really picked anything else up. But at work, like I said, I work in a book department. I saw a book cover, and it had two guys on it. And I'm like, oh, well, that's nice. Maybe this is gay. And we don't really get a lot of gay books where I work. So it was kind of shocking that we got it. It's called Destination Unknown by Bill Konigsberg. It's like a teen romance set in the 80s. I'll read the description of this one too off the back. Why not? When Micah and CJ connect in New York City, Micah is pretending to be more out than he really is. CJ isn't just out, he's loud and proud, and Micah can't help but be drawn to him. A connection forms between them. Is it friendship? Romance? As their lives become more entangled in the AIDS epidemic that's laying waste to their community, whatever it is between them will be tested, but it will also be a lifeline and a bond that will determine their futures. A story of identity, connection, and survival told in heartbreaking glory. Anyways, that's a little dramatic, but yeah, basically that is the plot of the book. Is the one guy Micah, he's very like uptight and like buttoned up, like very like straight presenting, and he kind of, through meeting CJ, he kind of, breaks out of his shell, and it's a nice story. I had to flip to the end to see, because like, spoiler alert, at the end of the book, the one character CJ does get AIDS, and so I had to go. I'm not even near the end of the book, but I had to go and I looked through, because I was like, oh my God, does he die? Like, if he dies, I'm not finishing this book, because I'm tired of, like, I like watching gay stuff, but I'm tired of watching gay stuff where people just die. It's like, can I have something that's not a tragedy, please? I get enough tragedy in my own life, all right. But he lives, it's fine. But yeah, it was a fun little book. Like, I mean, there were definitely stakes to it, and I was definitely invested in the characters. This is, I guess, the book that when I started reading this, after I finished it, I was like, well, I'm done with that book. Maybe I should start another one. So I started another book after this one. Like I said, that's Destination Unknown by Bill Konigsberg. It is published by Scholastic. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it's a cute book. I liked it. So, next book. Um, Last year, my mom died, and it truly was the worst experience of my life. Like, not joking. But around that time is when I bought this book. It is Hello Molly, a memoir by Molly Shannon, who is an actress, a comedian. She did the movie Superstar with Will Ferrell. She was on SNL. But I was drawn to the book because it's a memoir, so it's about her life. But her mom died when she was just a kid, like very young, and that's what a kid is. And it goes through like her life dealing with the loss of her mother and growing up with just her dad, who later comes out as gay, like near the end of his life. And it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stories in here. um I really enjoyed it. it was it's probably, I guess it's like the first like memoir I've ever read, but I was really excited to read it, especially after, my mom died. I guess excited is not the right word, but kind of like I wanted to read about how somebody else still dealt with the loss of their own mother. I mean, it's different because she was a kid, but it's one of those books where, like, on the back of the book, it just has reviews and not like what the book is about, and I hate that. We'll read some of the reviews first, though. Life changing, says Amy Schumer. The most inspiring memoir I've ever read, says Aubrey Plaza. Great comic, great actress, and great author, truly. Adam Sandler. Exuberant, brave, wholehearted, and hilarious. Cynthia D'Aprix. Sweeney, achingly beautiful, a vulnerable, brutally honest, and unrestrained glimpse at the human condition. By Aquafina. At age 4, Molly Shannon's world was shattered when she lost her mother, baby sister, and cousin in a car accident, with her father at the wheel. Held together by her tender and complicated relationship with her grieving father, Molly and her sister Mary were raised in a permissive household where Molly's gift for improvising and role-playing blossomed, alongside the fearlessness that would lead her to become a celebrated actress. From there, Molly ventured into the wider world of New York City and Los Angeles show business, where she created her own opportunities and developed her daring and empathetic comedy, filled with behind-the-scenes stories involving everyone from Whitney Houston to Adam Sandler to Monica Lewinsky. Many told for the first time here. Hello, Molly spans Molly's time on Saturday Night Live, where she starred alongside Will Ferrell, Cherry O'Terry, Tracy Morgan, and Jimmy Fallon, the worst of the Jimmys. She didn't write that, I did. Among many others, at the same time, it explores with humor and candor her struggle to come to terms with the legacy of her father, a man who was left with the impossible task of raising his kids alone after the loss of their mother, and yet still managed to foster Molly's gifts and drive. Winning, and told with tremendous energy and heart. Hello, Molly, written with Sean Wilesy, sheds new and revelatory light on the life and work of one of our most talented and free-spirited performers. So yeah, this is co-written by somebody. I just assumed that Sean Wiley did most of the Sean Wilesy. Sean Wilesy, I guess, probably did most of the writing, honestly, and like Molly Shannon was probably just recounting it to him. That's what I assume when a celebrity has a co-writer. Not to diss Molly Shannon at all, but it was a good book. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed reading a memoir. You know, there are some times where I'm like, this is boring. Why does she need to tell me about this? So there might be better memoirs out there. I don't know. But I did enjoy reading it. You know, it was funny. I liked a lot of her insights. And especially, like I said, with her mom dying when she was young. And I mean, my mom being dead, I thought I could learn a few things. And I feel like it helped me grieve a little bit. So I do appreciate that book. So the last book that we're going to get into today is the one that I just finished. And it's funny because when I started it, I was telling my husband, I was like, I don't really like this one as much as the other books I've been reading, but I've had it forever and I haven't read it and I want to read another book. So this is the one I picked. And it is Stranger Things, Darkness on the Edge of Town. It is an official Stranger Things novel. It is like Hopper in the 70s in New York City with his wife and daughter when he's a cop and a homicide detective. So I guess it's official, like it probably fits in the canon somewhere. I doubt they're ever going to mention any of this stuff in the show. To my knowledge, I don't think he's mentioned it. But basically, the premise is that Eleven finds like a box of stuff from that time, and he goes into the story about all he went through it. And like I said, the best thing about it when I started was like Hopper and Eleven's conversations, because you know I know the characters already, and it kind of was like, okay, I like this. But I mean, it wasn't my favorite starting off. Near the end, it really took off. And I was like, oh, I have to finish this book. So usually when I get towards the end of a book, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm done just reading little pieces. I have to finish this right now. So I did. Yeah, we'll read the description on the back, shall we? Before I was chief of Hawkins Police, I used to be a cop in New York City, a detective working homicide. 11 mouthed the unfamiliar word. Ah, yeah, said Hopper. Homicide means murder. Elle's eyes went wide. Hopper sighed, wondering if he had really just opened Pandora's box. In the summer of 1977, something very strange happened. So basically, all the back of the book makes a lot more sense now since I finished reading it. Okay. Spoiler alert. I don't know how much I'm going to spoil. Basically, it's Hopper as a homicide detective in the 1970s in New York City, and there's like a string of ritualistic murders and also like a gang called the Vipers that are doing stuff, and you find out how they're all intertangled or whatever. I just realized one of the characters in here dies, and they just kind of, she's just dead, she's just gone. They really don't mention her after she dies, so that's kind of crazy. I don't like that. But Other than that, I really do like it. I think they tied up a lot of stuff nicely. I guess the lady really did just die, and I was like, okay, goodbye, Miss Girl. It was a fun book. I think the way it was divided into like chapters was weird because it was like such like small chapters. I guess it's just a thing. Maybe it's just a writing style. I don't know. I haven't read enough books to tell you that. But it's interesting. I mean, I definitely liked it. It was one of those things reading it where I was like, this is just like police and military propaganda, which is like, I feel like permeates our culture. I mean, like, my favorite show is Bones, and I'm like, this is just propaganda for the police and for the government and for, the military, not to sound like a tinfoil hat person, but it really, it's like, look how good the police are. They're so nice. Everything's so great. And it's like, all right, compared to who? But it is also fiction, so I guess I have to suspend my disbelief for a few moments while I read it. I do like it. There's some interesting twists and turns. It was fun. I liked that it was related to Stranger Things, but it didn't really have that much in common with it. Oh, also, some of the chapter names are stupid. One of them was No Sleep Till Brooklyn, and then the other one was New York City Upside Down, which I guess not stupid, but they're funny. So yeah, it was a fun book, and I enjoyed reading it. Will I ever read it again? Probably not. I do want to look up to see how Hopper's daughter died in Stranger Things, but I also don't want to, like, I don't remember if they said, because I rewatched it all when the last season came out, and I don't know if I'm going to rewatch it all before the new season comes out, because it seems like a lot of work to sit through all that TV. It's a lot to work through. But I don't remember if they ever mentioned how Hopper's daughter died, and I don't want to go and have it spoiled if it's important for the next season, like, so I don't want to look it up in case it's like, oh, we don't know, but it could play into the next season. I don't know. So I'll probably wait until the season's over and the series is over to look through what happened to his daughter, Sarah. So those are all the books that I've read this year. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've read 4 books this year. Look at me go. I never thought I'd do it. Another book that I'm reading, not as regularly as some of the other books, but it's called Evolution, the Whole Story. The foreword by Alice Roberts and general editor is Steve Parker. On the back, it describes it. This comprehensive, beautifully illustrated book takes you on a journey through the astonishing history of life on Earth. Along the way, you will encounter pivotal evolutionary turning points, uncover false starts and global disasters, and trace the crucial scientific breakthroughs that have contributed to our understanding of this planet and the creatures on it. It basically goes through, like, just evolution, period, which is cool for me because I grew up, I talk about this in the Bible reading episodes, but I grew up in a Christian household. I went to church literally every day of my life. I went to church for most of my life. So I did not believe in evolution until like a couple years ago, honestly. I just thought, I don't really know what is going on. And that's crazy for someone who's like, that was into my late 20s. Like, oh, I don't really know what's going on, but I don't really care that much. And now I'm like, that's crazy. And I feel like that's how they get people, even the ones that aren't like sufficiently like indoctrinated with that kind of thing, still just like don't look into it. Cause it's like, I don't know anything about science. I don't know anything about evolution. And it's funny, just reading a little bit of the book has opened my eyes so much to what evolution is. It's not any way how it was presented to me growing up. And I think that's sort of the point, is they don't want to present it like an actual, like, this is just what happened. Like, it's not a storybook telling you, like, everyone got on a boat and, well, not everyone, but one family got on a boat with 2 of every animal on earth while God flooded the earth, and then they came back, and, it was like a magical, like, thing going on all the time. And I think that that's just crazy how people would maybe not even rather believe that, but just like are so conditioned to believe that instead of like actual like scientific like study. It's just kind of crazy to me. So this is a nice book. It's definitely, it's a little much because it really kind of is like a textbook. It is thick. It is probably the thickest, heaviest book I own. No, that's not true. The thickest, heaviest book I own is the Lady Gaga Terry Richardson photo book from probably like 15 years ago now. And I have 2 of those. Don't ask me why, because I don't know what to tell you. Well, I do know what to tell you. Basically, I bought one when it came out because I had to. Love Lady Gaga. Love Pink. And then I found the book at the Goodwill for 50 cents or 25 cents or something. But like, I'm like, oh my God, I paid like 100% more. And I just had to get it for that price. I should have left it for somebody else, but I didn't. Maybe I'll donate it. I don't know. Anyways, so that's another book that I'm working on as opposed to the ones that I've already finished. The next book that I'm going to read, I think is going to be Welcome to Jessie's by Eli Rainwater. They are one of my friends, one of my artist friends, and it's so cool. She is one of my friends and she writes books, and I really just wanted to read her book. So I got a copy and I've had it for a little bit, and I started reading it, but I didn't get too far into it because, like I said, I'm not really a huge reader, or I haven't been. This was before the reading bug, I guess, really bit me. And this is the next book I'm starting on. Welcome to Jessie's. Welcome to Jessie's. The tagline to me is so fun. It's a vampire, a ghost, and a fairy walk into a bar. Welcome to Jessie's. I just really like that concept. It's funny, I like how it's set up like a joke, but it's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute, vampires, fairies. So yes, if you didn't realize, this is a fantasy novel. I'm going to read the description for you. When Jessie, one of the oldest and most powerful witches in the world, joined the Witch Council over 1,000 years ago, she became embroiled in politics, saving the world and trying to keep the existence of the supernatural world a secret from humans. Now that the supernaturals are out in the open and a tentative alliance between the Fae, cryptids, humans, and witches is underway, Jessie finally gets to leave it all behind to open a bar in a small town north of Atlanta, where the most annoying thing on her plate is making sure the vampire groupies don't wind up as someone's dinner. However, her plans of a peaceful retirement are disrupted when a gargoyle is killed in her bar. Gargoyles! It wasn't just any gargoyle, though. It was the secretary for the European cryptid ambassador to the Alliance. Finding herself in the center of an international and interspecies nightmare, Jessie has to rally her allies to stop a power-hungry cabal from starting a war and destroying life as she knows it. So far, it is a trilogy, I'm pretty sure, and I'm just excited to pick this up and finish it. So when I do finish that, I will probably let you guys know. I know this is a bit of a different kind of podcast episode, which is interesting for me because when I started the podcast, whenever it was last year, I didn't think that I would go into so many different directions with it, but I'm happy that it's happening. I really do enjoy this podcast right now. I know I'm not really making regular YouTube videos anymore. I'm just kind of doing shorts and the podcast. But honestly, I'm really enjoying it right now. And I think that that's the point for me to enjoy stuff. And I know some of my friends, they like to listen to it. It makes me happy to know that my friends like what I do sometimes. So I just think it's neat. Anyways, that is about it. The books I read this year so far are Darkness on the Edge of Town by Adam Christopher. Sorry, I don't know if I mentioned that. I don't really know who that is. Sorry, Adam. And that one's published by Del Rey, I guess. Never heard of them. Eli Rainwater's book is self-published. We love a self-publishing queen. Evolution, the whole story that I'm working on, is published by Firefly. Hello, Molly by Molly Shannon. Destination Unknown, Bill Konigsberg, and His Reluctant Cowboy by A.M. Arthur. If you've read any of these books, comment below. Any book recommendations, also comment them as well, because I would love to know. I have a few more books, like I said, that I want to read, after I'm finished with the one I'm starting on now. And I guess I'll talk about those too. This is really fun. I hope y'all enjoyed this podcast episode. Make sure to comment, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. And make sure to check me out on Patreon. I do give sneak peeks to my art and different stuff like that on there, and it supports me and helps me make better episodes for you. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you for listening, and remember, stay edible.